Hey, it's been a while, guys. Today I have a very big video for you. 10 forgotten truth pills about dating, women, relationship, all of these things. This is very important for us because many times we forget the things that we learn. Some of us never learn, some of us don't want to learn, but don't worry. By the end of the video, you will have these pills shoved into places where you won't even be able to find them anymore. Some things just have to be said, and they will be said in this video. So let's start. The first truth that you have to be aware of is you cannot change your personality. Many of us imagine that personality is something malleable that we can change. We are still stuck in our own arrogance, thinking that we are the cool guy who can be whatever women are attracted to. Reality. You can only be who you are. This is very important for you to understand, guys. We think like, oh, if women are attracted to confident guys, why do men watch those videos, bro? Why do so many men watch those videos saying, oh, well, the true alpha, sigma, he is confident. He lures women in with his confidence. Why do men watch that? Because they think, oh, that's gonna be me. Oh, it's easy. If it's about confidence, all I have to do is just change myself and be confident. Oh, if it's about being extroverted, all I have to do is just being extroverted. So extroversion is basically game. It's like that part of the PUA. Confidence is like the other, the Richard Cooper and all that side, and like money too, right? The Rollo Tomasi and everything. That's like the confidence and money and status. And you think, well, all I have to do is change my personality. It's easy to imagine, but it is something that you imagine in your head. It doesn't exist in real life. The truth is that a true introvert will always be an introvert, and a true extrovert will always be an extrovert. So here is what we need to understand. We have like a model of, female population, male population, and here we have the first selection. So the first selection is basically these are the guys who get selected during the first selection, is the blue guys, like the ones circled in blue. And these guys, very good for dating, offer hottest sex, early bloomers. These are the men who clean up during their 20s. You gotta understand, if you struggle, if you don't get, it's because somebody else does. If you got rejected by many women, it's because somebody else is fucking those women. Now, here you have the men who, they're not necessarily good people just because they're average looking, but they tend to be the stereotypical good, like husband material, has a degree, offers stability, this kind of guy, right? There's some overlap where you can have a guy who's like good looking, because obviously these guys are, obviously because of looks, they're good looking. You can have a guy who's like in the middle, who's both like husband material, as in the guy who commits, but he's also hot as well. And you have, of course, from the perspective of the attractive men, you have the women they commit to, which is going to be a very, like, pretty much exact number as the number of these men. So this is like these are like 10% of men, so they will commit to like 10% of women. And then you have temporary commitment. And these women down here, they get dumped in the end. They'll have to either go for a more average-looking guy or stay single. And here is how the attraction is directed, like how the sort of movement is. This is what happens during your 20s. This is why, if you're in the green or the yellow, later in life, marginal desire. If you're in these like middle or below the middle, then you don't get because these guys do. You don't fuck because these guys do. The women that are rejecting you, the reason you don't get to be with them is because these guys get to be with them. And here, of course, you have the interest levels. So the women here in the middle, they get temporary commitment, less interest from these attractive men, and these women, they get even less interest because the difference between the sexual value of young women and young men is just so much that pretty much any young woman is by default going to be dating one of these four guys, one of these better looking, typically bad boys. So by default, any man is automatically relegated to being irrelevant because simply by virtue of their natural biological sexual value, meaning, the reproductive value, having the womb, being able to carry children, right? Simply because of that biological reality, women, they automatically are at the level in terms of sexual value as these men here, and they're all competing for these men, and they typically only see these men, literally only these men exist until later in life, usually when they start trying to, like these women will have to figure it out, either settle or be single, and then these guys get a chance. So if you're an average looking man, then typically you will have very limited opportunities. In some cases, you will even be like an actual virgin. And like I know a guy, for example, who is like in 28, and he is like he had his first girlfriend at 28. He just made his first girlfriend. I don't know how he looks, to be honest. He's like a son of a relative's friend. And I'm not even using this as like some anecdotal evidence. It's just an example that I'm giving, that this is a situation that's common. I am willing to bet that guy is somewhere in the yellow or even maybe the green. And women will say this many times, see us like humans, just see us like women. If you want to see truth as it is, which you should do, because delusion only ends in disaster later on, you need to at least be grounded in reality, right? You want to be grounded in reality, actually follow this advice. When women tell you see us like humans, basically separate them from the social constructs of purity, and they are angels, they only love one man, they don't care about looks. This is why I'm making this video, guys, so you can see women like humans, so you can see women just like women. So, truth number 2. Acting like a bad boy does not attract women. How many of us, guys, have made this mistake before? How many of us have made the mistake of assuming that women are into bad boys because they are masochists, basically? They like being treated like crap. Sometimes women need those men physically because of their good looks. Generally, that's the thing that happens, right? Which are so not commonly found in the general population. They like their courage, experience, and high status among men, but they still don't want to share those men. And in reality, it's more complicated than that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, she wants to find a man who is already being used and has 5-star reviews from many women. Then make him hers. Then he should leave those other women and only be hers. So in that sense, she doesn't want to share him. They don't want to share him, right? But that man already, the most attractive man, is the guy who looks good. Like imagine you have a business, right? The business who looks legit, it looks like it's a high quality business, high quality product. That's the most important thing, looking legit. Then the reviews. You want to buy from that business, from that company. The reviews. You're buying something from eBay. You're going to look at the reviews, right? If it doesn't have any reviews, that's a huge red flag. If it has a lot of buyers and you have that there, like it says, trending right now, this product is trending right now, this thing is trending right now. I hate to compare people with products, but this is how it works today. It's the reality. I hate it, but this is the reality. So this is trending right now. 100 people have this in their shopping list. 100 people have this. This is what women want to see. Guy who looks good, meaning that you look legit, you look like you actually are desirable, right? You don't look like some Indian scammer business from some, right? Looking good, which is your legitimacy to women as a man, and then the reviews. Seeing the pop-up that 100 women currently have this in their shopping list. That's what they're looking for. And then they want to make him hers. They want to make him theirs. Then they don't want to share those men. And of course, they don't like being abused. Like, don't take this too far, like, don't think, oh, well, if I'm just become like a criminal, then no. Women like good-looking criminals. They don't like any, like, guy who abuses his wife. Modern dating paradox. So number 1, those men are bad boys who secretly spin plates. Most women experience intense pleasure followed by regret and grief that they are being cheated on. So this is what's happening today, basically, The bad boys are actually bad boys, right? they are actually the guys who are getting the 5-star reviews, but then you know what? They can't make him theirs. She cannot make him hers. So they regret it. They get used for their bodies. They regret it. And it's tough, as a woman, sleeping with a man like that, getting used for your body. You were so naive that you thought he would love you, or you thought he was nice just because you were attracted to him, and now he's gone, ghosted you. And of course, they keep traumatizing themselves with this. And then the second situation is how it used to be. And of course, that clearly they weren't that happy with that, because they were very happy to leave that kind of social order. I don't think any woman wants to go back to that, back when like the good men or like the attractive men, they commit to one woman. That's the difference, bro. The attractive men have always existed. The difference is 100 years ago, the attractive guy, he had a wife. In his when he was 22, he had a wife. Women didn't get to play with him like that. They didn't get to have every woman has a turn with him. They didn't get to have that. So if we go back to that, so those men are actually good men, then most women are forced to date men who have less to offer. Truth number 3. Faking confidence doesn't work. Confidence is, number 1, believing you can do something, inner confidence, and number 2, acting like you can do something, outer confidence. We always hear the just be confident bro advice, albeit broken down in many principles and rules that you have to learn. And this connects well with virgin men, because our circumstances make us feel like we have to be perfect. We basically cannot be virgins, we cannot be shy, we cannot show any inexperience. You don't get to be a beginner and learn, bro. This is like, beginner position, 10 years of experience required. You have to be a professional NBA player to even get the chance to train for the first time in your life. Imagine, bro, you haven't had the chance to hold a basketball in your hands, and you get told, you can hold it, just be a professional NBA player first, which is a scam, of course, because this is not how it works. This is just something that you imagine, right? In reality, this doesn't work, and it almost always backfires. Women will cringe at your arrogance because you don't have a reason to be confident. You don't have the looks. You don't have the 100 women currently have this in their shopping list message either. So, it doesn't have to be 100. You gotta understand, guys, like, sometimes I am making some dark humor here and there, but you gotta understand what I mean, the general idea. Truth 101. So, your dating life in the first and second world is largely a result of your looks. Everything else comes after. You need the money because you don't have the looks, etc. You must not forget that it's not your fault. Remind yourself of this every single day. And I want to show you something very interesting, guys, and this will explain a lot of things that you see today. So, look, you have a woman who has a daughter, and so on. The energy that goes into the childbirth is conserved, right? You have the conservation of energy. Here, you have a different situation. Now you have another woman. This woman, this time, she has a son. Now, the energy for one birth is E. So the energy of this mom for her birth is E1. She has birth. E1 is used. Her daughter, now she also has E1 when she grows up, and she's also able to have children with the condition that she is fertile and, manages to survive into adulthood, which is extremely important for the reproduction of the species. Then, E1 is actually preserved. Then here, however, the mother too, she has her son. She uses up her energy. E2 is used. The son lacks E2. So what happens here is that the son doesn't have energy to give birth to a child, obviously. So for the nephew, for the nephew generation, E1 will be used. So the energy of this grandmother here will be used for the nephew birth. So we have this formula where mom 1, E equals N. So one energy for childbirth equals N, which is the nephew birth. For mom 2, she needs 2E. So if you follow her line through her son and so on, she needs E2 and E1 for a nephew birth. So for her, 2E equals N, meaning that which one is more efficient? The mother who had a daughter is more efficient in terms of preserving energy than the mother who had a son. Nature always preserves energy, guys. Now, you might think that this energy was lost. Look, the sun doesn't have it. 0E2, this is a 0, by the way. The energy was lost, right? But actually, it wasn't lost. It was converted into EM2, which is the strength and natural wiring to provide and protect the woman and her kid. So the energy that would have gone into the daughter being able to have a kid and actually giving birth, keep in mind this is energy for one birth. Now this, in the case of the son, that energy goes into him growing, physical strength, ability to hunt, to provide, and the instinct to be willing to do that. And this is why you have so many men today. That naturally, you are kind of hardwired to give something to women, even if you just did the things that you actually wanted to do, like the things that you want to do. At the very least, you're offering physical pleasure to women. But then, let's be honest, every man wants to have, you want to have a family, this is your instinct, It's only bitterness that takes you away from wanting these things. And there is a natural explanation for this. Yes, men are pretty much hardwired to protect and provide for women. And you gotta accept this, guys. This will always be the case. You will never, the same way that people's instincts don't change in women, look at the men that they're choosing, right? Men's instincts also don't change. And men will always offer women options. Men will always make women's lives easier. It's just something you have to accept. I personally don't resent it. But it's something you have to be aware of, because you're not competing with women, you're competing with other men. And this is something you have to know, you have to be aware of this. So let's keep going. Truth number 4. So, you cannot attract women with something you don't have. This is very important. Fraud maxing doesn't work because you don't have anything real to offer. If you are frauding your Tinder pictures, covering acne with makeup, wearing really oversized clothes, trying to invent a fake character and act like a badass around women, all of this is pointless because all the rewards will go to the men who really had those things. And look, you are not a woman. Women weren't mentally and spiritually hardwired to make your life better. You were hardwired to make theirs. There's no escaping this, bro. The only way to escape it is to try to not play the game. I know that it sounds like after you've been rejected, I know because I've been there for a long time, it sounds like why would I want to make a woman's life better? But you have to accept the fact that if you were to just do what you feel like doing, and you would basically be contributing, every man is contributing to this. If you have tried, every time you sent a message, every time you complimented a woman, even if you tried acting like a bad boy, bro, it's a different side of the same coin. Same coin, bro, same coin. Whether it's cold approach, trying to be bad boy, or trying to be a nice guy. It's all doing the same thing. It's inflating their egos. It's adding up to how easy they have it in the dating world. And I'm not saying this out of resentment, but it's just a reality you have to accept. I've contributed honestly with every single woman I've approached, unless she literally took it as an insult. It's something that contributed to her ego, whether it was cold approach, whether it was dating apps, whether it was warm approach. It's just, and the more you do it, the more approaches you do, the more women you are contributing to the problem, I respect the decision to try to control this, and to not just blindly make everything worse for everyone. For example, not dating down because you know that you're making other men's dating lives harder by trying to date down, you're ruining it for them. But men are there's always going to be men who do this, There's always going to be men who do this. And with these guys, right, there's nothing wrong with either of these. Still, you cannot ignore how they make the haircuts look good just as much as they look good in them. You cannot ignore this, guys. These are good-looking guys. If you saw, Saint Hamoudi wearing this, look, if you saw him with this haircut, you would think he looks horrible. Our pride often makes us fight over which style or haircut is the best. As men, we often feel the need to assert ourselves and constantly mug each other, which sucks and only leads to the deepening of our collective misery. We should support each other and accept that a few centimeters of hair growth doesn't make you superior to others. There are healthy ways to assert yourself, like making an impact on your community, creating high quality art or internet content, meeting people, etc. Men's looks culture is often full of negativity. Unfortunately, you don't look in the mirror thinking, I think I look good in this, maybe this is even better. You're thinking, do I look gay right now? Do I look lame in this? Does this make me look like a dork? This causes a sad phenomenon where we essentially end up dressing and cutting our hair to look like exact clones of each other. You see this it's literally a meme nowadays, I swear. Truth number 5. If you are a virgin, you aren't good at sex. Bro, be honest with yourself. How many times have you imagined yourself being with a woman? How many times have you imagined yourself sucking at it? Well, you might as well start imagining that, because that would be more realistic. Pretty much nothing you've imagined is exactly like... It's not gonna go like that, bro. You gotta realize it's not gonna go like that. If you're a virgin, you don't know how to move your body well during sex. The first time you will start and you'll it won't be good. And you will need some time to get used to it. If the woman has more experience than you, there will be some awkwardness, and that's okay. Some of us might make the mistake of thinking that we can be professionals without having trained even once, but that only exists in our minds. You also will generally be awkward. You will not recreate your self-glorifying fantasies where you make a woman fall for you. Pick her up and give her the best she'll ever have. Be realistic. Never depend on sex. If you feel a strong pressure to do anything because you need to get laid, you have failed already. You need to be okay with the possibility that it might not happen. Very important to not depend on sex in the way that it controls you. It's okay to do things that you know are worth it, like going to a better location, geomaxing maybe, whatever works for you. If it works and you're getting the good end of the stick, or it works for you, yeah, you can do things for that, but don't let it control you. Blindly letting our jealousy and greed take over will ruin our lives and the lives of those around us. I'm talking about the jealousy, like when you are jealous, you are a virgin and you're jealous about people who have experience. I understand it's natural to feel jealous, but don't let it take over you. And if you do, then it can ruin your life. It doesn't matter that these are natural human tendencies. Like I said, it's natural. You will feel like that. But yeah, we need to free our souls from them, you know? Saint Hamoudi is saying this to us. We need to cleanse ourselves of this evil. Actually, guys, we cannot be eaten alive by our own jealousy. I know it's hard. It can be hard. But you need to have a down-to-earth perspective and never idealize anything. Don't idealize women, don't idealize sex. I know you feel jealous, but it's always better to have it than not to have it. But even the people who have it doesn't mean their lives are perfect. Yeah, like you'd rather have that life, but it's still not perfect. Here, truth 6. If you are a virgin, you don't have good game. And this should be self-explanatory, really. It's very common for us to imagine ourselves as better and stronger than what we actually are. We need to make the distinction between what we want to be and what we actually are, though. Like, it's common to react to our current situation by thinking, oh, I'm gonna cheat the system, bro. Oh, when I come out of the alpha male boot camp, and I'm gonna have money and status by the end of my 30s, and then I'm gonna peak, bro. No, you're not. No, you're not. You know? You're not gonna cheat the system and come out at the end being, if you have money, you'll be able to get laid. And hopefully, the way you see women also matches with that kind of lifestyle. Because you're not gonna have some romantic, I want to have true love, bro. Like, there's just no fucking way. You come out at the end with money, you've supposedly self-improved, and you still believe that, I just want to find true love, bro. Even if you were good looking and socially appealing enough, you wouldn't get girls. The first selection is always the girls. The girls choose you before you get to choose them, bro. Yeah, the guys who are attractive, they get to choose girls, but they chose him before, like, girls chose those attractive guys before they got to choose which girls they want to commit to. Or it's women always choose you before you get to choose them, bro. It's the reality. And even without realizing, when you think you get girls, what you are actually doing is you are fulfilling your destiny, ironically, fulfilling your destiny to offer women what they need. In this case, it would be pleasure and excitement. So if you truly were that guy, just go and approach women, bro. If you truly were the guy who that works for, then you would be, the best case, you would be going around, sleeping with a lot of women, making it harder for other men, and ironically, you would be contributing to the problem. You would be offering something to those women that they wouldn't have, right? You would be just part of it. And from the women's perspective, of course, like, you'd give them a lot of pleasure. At the end of it, you are just contributing to this. We need to unlearn the fantasy that you can manipulate women's choices through PUA tactics and game. There is no such thing as a behavior that every man can learn, which universally attracts women. Women are in no need of the cringe pickup lines and approaches of men who don't have much else to offer. In the best case, they might take it as a compliment, but it won't change their mind. Truth 7. It doesn't matter you have XYZ if women don't need it. So some of us might cope by thinking, I can offer this to a woman, I can offer that to a woman, but in reality, do women really need that in their lives? And if they need it, do they need it so much that they're willing to be in a relationship and have sex with you for those things? No, really. The only time that a woman would feel like she needs to be in a relationship with you and have sex with you is when you are actually sexually attractive, when you are good looking. 100 years ago, a woman would have been married to you. She would have probably never loved your face. She would have never loved how your face looks like. But she would be with you because she needed you. She actually needed. She couldn't have her own bank account. Her parents will die eventually. Like, she can't be alone. Nowadays, that's not the case anymore. I'm not even saying it should. It's just how the world works. You can't go back to the technology. The way it used to be wasn't some conspiracy. It wasn't because, people back then just didn't know any better. No. People back then weren't any more evil than people today. If anything, I wouldn't say they were better either, but definitely they weren't more evil. This isn't about evil and good. It's just about people, like, developing society. More technology is developing. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing, but society changes, technology changes, and this is the world we have today, you know? And if we go back to the material state of, like, before the internet, right? There's no more internet. We go back to, like, 100 years ago. Yeah, we would have the same. We would start to go back. Our values would also go back, right? The material conditions of a society determines the beliefs and the values of that society. Sometimes, look, we're looking for a reason to explain why women should sleep with us, right? I'm 6 feet tall, I have nice hair, so why don't women still want my dick? Why do they not want it, right? I can offer this and that to a woman, why do they still not want my dick, you know? This is how you can summarize the cope. And in reality, women might enjoy being around you without actually feeling like they need to have sex with you. They would have never, like, if they had a choice, they would have always chosen not to. If they could just get provided for, and they didn't have to be with the oofy doofy, they'd be like, hey, I don't need him anymore. I'm divorcing. I don't need to have sex with a man who I don't actually want to have sex with. I don't want to be with a man. I don't need to be with a man who I don't love his face. Women think that, like, 80% of men are ugly. So she doesn't need to be with a man who, like, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, if somebody were to be like, hey, we're gonna teleport society, we're gonna overnight, like, we're gonna change your life, right? We're gonna change your life overnight. you have all of this provision from the government, just you. The government's gonna take care of you. You can have your freedom, you can have your own money, you can do whatever you want, right? She would be like, hey, I don't need to marry grandpa anymore. I have all my stuff. I don't need to be with a man who I don't love his face. And it's the same thing, bro. Just because you think you have these things doesn't mean women need it. You cannot reason your way into a woman's body. You gotta be aware of this, guys. You cannot, but no, they should be with me because XYZ. No, this isn't how it works. If she doesn't love how your face looks like, if she doesn't like your looks, then she will be with you if she needs to be with you. But today, she doesn't need to be with you. That's the thing. So, she won't. Truth number 8. Why simping doesn't work. You might look at the guy who cringe maxed, did a public dance, got rejected. You might think, wow, he's a loser because he did something like that for a girl. You think that he actually cares about her, bro? He doesn't actually care about her. He only cares about getting laid. They only do it because they hope that the girl will like them as a result. If the guy actually thought about her over himself, because they pretend like, oh, I'm thinking about her over myself. If they actually thought like that, ironically, they would notice that the girl isn't into them and they wouldn't embarrass themselves. Ironically, that would be better for them. Even that. And he would know that the girl wouldn't enjoy that kind of performance and would instead try to act more normally and just talk to her. So you gotta be aware of this, guys. Like, if the guy actually cared about her, if anything, it would be better for him. And for me personally, when I am around women, I don't feel like I need for them to be less so that I can be more. I feel like I'm enough myself as I am. And I don't have anything to lose by their lives being better. It doesn't take anything away from me. But that's just because, if I had the brain of a woman, bro, I wouldn't be here. I cannot say on YouTube what would have happened to me, but if I had the brain of a woman, I wouldn't be here right now making this video. So it's really, if you have a certain amount of strength that you develop over time, you come to the conclusion where, yeah, well, women's lives could be better, and it doesn't take away anything from me. Actually, I want women's lives to be better, but not in the way that, like, let's be honest, guys, not in the way they want it to, right? Not in the way they want it to. You also have your own interests, and you can't deny this, because at the end of the day, you want them to have good lives as long as you get laid. And I cannot say I'm any different, right? I want them to have good lives too, right? I want them to have good lives, but I also want to get laid. I also want to have access to that, Of course, there are men who literally spend thousands of dollars on the girls on the internet, like, never be like these guys. We need to have standards for ourselves. When you only care about your own desires, your desires control you. Truth number 9, and this is a big one. This is the pill. So, some of us have heard the idea that size doesn't matter. Oh, there we go. But we also instinctively want to be large. Why? Because we want to please our women, and also we kind of know that even looks better, and it's even shown by studies that women for one-night stands, for their short-term preferences, meaning the men they actually want to sleep with, which is what this is about, because that's what you do with your thing down there, women prefer looking, and like they find the male organ, which is a little bit larger than average, to be more attractive, and they also prefer it for one-night stands. And our self-esteem is rightfully connected to how she feels, whether she is pleased. Like, look, you can pretend, oh, I only care about myself. This is just a LARP, bro, because at the end of it, if she turns around and she tells you, no, I didn't like it, you're too small, you would be devastated by it, You would be devastated by it. There are so many people coping, thinking like, oh, telling men, don't get down there, don't do things for her, don't do any of that for her, right? But it's really laughable, the amount of resentment. I am saying these things brutally, honestly, as they are. I have no resentment. I've accepted it. I am still kind of depressed about a little. Sometimes I'm depressed about my life and being lonely. Like, it's never a good thing to not have a partner. But we're not alone, bro. We're literally like half of men in their 20s, even more, like 63, the 63% club, right? So look, here is what some men think. They think that in the middle here, this is what women like, right? This is like literally 4 inches here, between 4 and 5. Anything that's like 5 and above, it's too much. But in reality, although this might be the case for her husband, who she doesn't even truly feel aroused by, and she doesn't get properly lubrified and so on, like maybe for the oofy doofy husband, but for a guy who she's actually attracted to, there is a thing called the fornix, and these are chambers inside the woman they're literally made for deep penetration, and they allow deep penetration. And many women like this, some don't, but trust me, if a woman likes this, then you kind of need to be above average for this. Like, this is the reality. The guy who is 20 centimeters long, or maybe that's a little too much, but you get the idea. The guy who's like 6-7 inches, right? That there is literally, I want you to think, the girl who you are dating, or if you're dating any girl, there is literally a room inside her, 2 rooms actually, dedicated, reserved for that guy. That guy has literally reserved 2 rooms inside of her. That's the purpose of this. So, if you look, this is like a medical procedure. This is like a scanning device of some sort. And you see, this is the posterior fornix. This can be, of course, it's very the whole area is flexible. So, this can be somewhat expanded. And at a certain angle, if the guy is sort of going like this kind of angle, pushing downwards, then, this is not all women, but some women like this. And you better hope it's not your girlfriend. You better hope she's not one of those women if you're small, because she might be. And like I said, she literally has 2 rooms inside of her reserved for that guy. Reserved. She is designed to have rooms reserved for that kind of man, even though the average man, pretty much by design, doesn't reach that. There's a reason for that, bro. There's a reason for that. When she's actually attracted to you, it's more like this is like the 7-8 inch range. This is 6-7 inches, even 8 inches. Not all of it has to go in, though. Not all of it. Like, if you're like down, you're okay down here too, bro. You're okay down here too. You're okay here. But here is the point where you need to have pretty decent girth, and at this point, it's like you need to slam your pubic bone into her, bro. Like it's gonna be brutal here, because if you're like 4.55 inches, it's not easy, bro. It's not easy. It's much easier as long as it's not like too much. It's much easier, and it is more attractive to the eyes of the women as well. And it's much easier that you can reach without having to some positions, for example, you don't go all the way in. Some positions you need to have that kind of reach, and it's an uncomfortable truth. And like I said, if you are in the middle, it's not the end of the world, bro. This isn't the most guys don't have to worry about this. A lot of guys don't have to worry about this. This isn't the reason it's over for you. But it's also a thing. And you also got to keep in mind that just like women's breasts are part of their looks, and it's believed that the fact that women have breasts is actually quite unique, because mammals, they only have breasts when they are about to breastfeed, when they have children, babies. Women, they keep them all the time, and it's believed that's because it's part of their looks, and it lets men know that they are mature, and it attracts men to them. And it's the same thing you could say to a certain extent with the male organ, which is also abnormally large for an animal of our kind, like compared to other primates. If you are to compare it, in a tribe, everybody knows how everybody looks like naked in a tribe, bro. It's literally part of your looks. So it's, yeah, you get your face selected, but the sexual selection doesn't just affect your face, bro. It goes way beyond your face. And truth number 10. The cope of wanting women to be romantically and sexually frustrated like you are. This is especially for the guys who imagine that if a woman is rejected by good-looking guys, oh, she's gonna be attracted to me then. If she gets rejected by the good-looking guys, she'll be attracted to me. Actually, no. There is a study, and I'm gonna leave the link in the description. There is a study that shows that when a woman is accepted by a good-looking guy, she is way more likely to also accept an average guy, or even below average. But when the woman is rejected by the good-looking guy, then she is way more likely to reject the average or below average guy, and she will take her frustration out of on him. She's way more likely to also call him ugly, to make fun of his looks. This is based on a college campus. I think this is very valuable. It's not even dating apps that you can say, oh, it's just people swiping. It's literally like real life, as real as it can get. Not as if dating apps are... Of course, they are real life because it's real people on them. Real people have real sexual intercourse through those apps. And so notably, the women were almost as eager to meet the unattractive guy when both types of men expressed interest. So this guy expresses interest, the woman then might allow this guy to hit as well. What this means is that here she feels secure because she has secured the genes of this man. She has secured the seed of this man. So for her to feel secure, that's what she needs. After securing the seed of this man and being completely turned into the mother of his children, then she wants, or she might give a chance because this guy might provide for her, this guy might have something going for him, and this is where, if you have money today, you might as well be this guy, you know? And of course, at this point, it's not really that bad. Like, if you have the opportunity to have options and to change those options that's good, right? You don't have to be the naive guy who's just willing to go with everything she says, of course. But if you are just, oh, please, then you might as well be that guy. Here, it's like the guy rejects her. She is insecure. She didn't get the seed from... Nothing else matters, bro. If she got rejected by this guy, she didn't get his seed, nothing else matters in this situation, which is like a free sort of society where the woman isn't then gonna need him and then be with him because she doesn't need him, right? So she's not gonna be like, okay, well, I need you, so yeah, I guess. She doesn't need him, so she can be brutally honest, and she will be brutally honest. She's pissed off, she got rejected by the good-looking guy. She's gonna show the middle finger to the average or below average-looking guy. And here's the thing, right? Women have this instinct where in a tribe, right, this would happen in a tribe. Bro, tribes, they don't have the sexual morals that we have. Some tribes in South America do wife swapping, bro. Like, they do have sex before marriage. Cheating happens. It's kind of like taboo. Like, they don't talk about it many times, but it happens in many tribes. They don't have the kind of society, but paternity doesn't matter as much because they have no inheritance, no property. They don't own property of any kind. They all living together, sleeping in big groups. They don't even have proper walls. They don't have houses. They build like you can see through the walls. Like you have like bamboo buildings or something. So, in that environment, this would happen. This has happened, and it's actually... I will talk about the tribe pill in another video. Oh, this is a brutal pill to swallow. But what I want you to know is that in that sort of tribe situation, the women will be telling the oofy doofies, oogie boogies, right? They'll be telling the oogie boogies, I love you, Gingis. Then should be telling the guy, the alpha, should be telling him, oh, you're the best, you know? So she would tell the oogie boogie what he needs to... what he wants to hear, and this is women's instinct to keep peace and warmth in the tribe by blue-pilling sub-7 men. This is why women today will say, oh, we don't care about looks. This is why they will say that, you know? And if you keep saying, no, but women don't want me, then they'll start, oh, but why do you hate women? Why do you, you know? This is a reality. You gotta, of course, bro, this is just theory at the end of the day. You gotta see the world for yourself. But for somebody who has also seen the world and wants to be honest with himself, this is a good, very good framework for that. I want you to look at it. Don't even believe me. Don't follow anyone blindly, but be honest with yourself. Here, in this situation, the average guy, he actually doesn't hate the above average guy. They're kind of like brothers anyway. They grew up together. Everybody knows everybody in a tribe, right? Here, he is jealous because she, in this case, this woman, she belongs to a population where they haven't evolved the instinct to blue pill men. So then what is she gonna tell him? Well, she's gonna tell him you're small and I'm cheating on you. Then he gets angry, he gets jealous, they start killing each other, the tribe dies. In this case, the tribe survives. In my opinion, this is how this instinct of women to tell men comforting truth, they actually feel like they want to comfort those men. They feel good. They feel they get into like their nurturing sort of like, oh, I feel good. I'm telling these men are now feeling better because I'm telling them this, and at the same time I'm covering up for this as well. You know, for this, which is like a very, very important part of her life, maybe even the most important part of her life. And yeah, this explains what you see today. And here's the thing, guys. Look. You need to understand many times you go to work, you find that girl who is cute, she's kind and warm, and you think, she's like 25 or something, you think, oh, well, that girl, she's probably not having sex, right? No, she is, most likely. She most likely has a boyfriend, she's well loved and well taken care of. She's way more likely to at least friend zone an average guy. That's what you want girls to be like. Even if you only cared about getting laid, the only choice the average man has is to wait for his turn, as brutal as this might sound to many of us. Look, you can earn money. Like, you're gonna earn money, right? You're gonna earn money. Let's not idealize that. What you are basically doing is you're waiting for your turn. Are you gonna have her first time? Are you going to be even guaranteed to be her last? No. You get to a point where you don't even care anymore, bro. Like, this isn't a love fantasy. This isn't a romantic movie. Yeah, I don't care. But you have to accept. Don't pretend that if you didn't have the money, no. She wouldn't be with you if you didn't have the money. Don't pretend. You are waiting for your turn when you are self-improving and you are... I'm also trying to at least be independent financially for myself, to be able to, live a decent life myself at least. But you gotta admit that essentially, if you didn't have success when you were young, you're basically waiting for your turn, bro. Like, I know it's brutal, but it's basically what it is. The girl who is bitter and cold is typically the girl who is unloved and taken care of, and she's much less likely to be kind or accepting to average men. Bro, even the study shows it, bro. The woman who is like you want her to be, she is the least likely to accept you. Many of us want women to not do it because, unless it's with us, we don't really want to see that. We don't want to see that happening. But in reality, doing it objectively makes a girl better, not worse. Like, here's the thing, guys. When she is like 16, yeah, of course, she is 15, she is pure. But being 25... and being like forced to be a virgin and forced to be sexually frustrated at 25, that's not gonna make her better. That's even religions don't want that. Even religions create environments where all the women are getting married at pretty young ages. Even religions don't want women to be to be virgins in their 20s just because you are insecure and you think that if she is as frustrated as you are, then she will give you a chance. No, she won't give you a chance, bro. The girls who are sweet and kind, and you might even think that she's wife material, these are the girls who are being romantically and physically satisfied. Can you imagine this? The girl who you're talking to and you're thinking, oh, like this Becky is so nice to me. And meanwhile, 30 minutes ago, Becky was getting sandwiched between her boyfriend and the door. The guy didn't hold back. through the miniskirt, didn't even have to take her underwear off. All he had to do, like a vaccine, just get the shot, get it in, take the shot out, pull the 2 inches of cloth back where they belong, and then send her to work, you know? She was like sitting in her car, thinking about her life, wiping off the extra brake oil. Then she comes to work. She's like, hey, hello, good morning. And you're waiting for her. You're like, hey, Becky, how are you today, Becky? You're thinking, wow, she is so nice. She's smiling, wife material. Bruh. You are in for a big one when you get married to that girl eventually, bro. Even traditional cultures knew what I'm saying. Like I said, they all got married. They got girls married pretty young. Bro, like, you can't make this shit up. I think I've had enough pills for you today. I'm gonna give you a break for now. I'm done with the brutal facts. So, thank you guys for watching this, and if you want to see more, make sure to let me know in the comments what you want to see. And until then, see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.